I guess can you walk me through like the procedure of taking what you call a shot
Yeah. So um,
or that shot in particular?
I'll actually do the first one because that one is one that's clearer in my mind. You
Okay.
know what the procedure was, and it's you train these procedures. There's a checklist that you have to run. We have a safety observer who sits there and makes sure that we run the checklist and everything's within regulations and according to the rules of engagement and law of armed conflict. Um, so in the first one, uh, I showed up to work and we have something called monthly currencies where like you have to take a shot once a month or run through the checklist to pretend that you're taking a shot and all sorts of stuff. Well, my currency had ran out and they were like, all right, we're going to put you in the seat and make you do a real shot. And I show up, get in the seat, and we run through the checklist procedures. Uh, but what happened? This one was probably more interesting because there was a convoy that was in an engagement with Taliban troops, and they were on firing from the top of a hill underneath this tree, and they had the person that was in the seat before me had set everything up to take the shot. So I get in the seat after this guy, and we're getting ready to take the shot, and we get a call from the JTAC that says that the um, excuse me, the missile impact would have less of a result than what we want from the Hellfire missile. So we're going to have the F-16s that are in the area drop a GBU, a ground guided bomb unit, which would have a bigger impact. And so as we're monitoring this conflict going down, the F-16 gets in contact with us and says, we found 3 people 10 clicks to the south by southwest. Put your eyes on this location. So we move our video feed to this location, and we see these 3 individuals walking down the road, and they can definitely hear this fight going on. Like there's bombs exploding, guns going off, grenades, all sorts of stuff, and they look terrified. Like they look like they're walking. It's probably, let's see, it was probably really early in the morning, maybe like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning.
So
And
still
the
dark.
Yeah. And so there were 3 individuals. 2 of them were walking and talking together, and you could see their hand movements and all these types of things. And the third person in the back was lagging behind, and he could probably hear the F-16s in the area. He was probably listening. And so as soon as we put eyes on these guys, the screener, who is the intelligence dude, who was my job originally, that was the job I trained for, is watching this video feed and confirming what's on the video feed. And he says, we got 3 individuals with weapons. And the JTAC says, confirmed weapons, you are cleared hot. And cleared hot means you are cleared to engage these individuals at your discretion. And so the pilot gives a 2-minute call saying that we'll be ready in 2 minutes to pull the trigger. We run through the checklist. We power up the missile. We point the laser, and the JTAC says, point the laser between the feet of the individuals in the front, because we'd rather get 2 than 3. So point the laser, and if I'm going to give a little background information of my emotional state at this time. So my very first mission, I saw a convoy hit an IED, and I heard there's cries over the radio for medical help, and basically all we could do was sit there and watch them. So I had this, programmed hate into me. I watched our own guys die, people on our own team die. I want to fucking kill these guys. I want them to die. I want them to suffer the consequences for hurting us. And there's a difference between killing out of survival and killing out of conflict and killing out of hate because of an ideology. And when I was so laser focused on these guys, and I wasn't really actually sure if I was able to do it, even though I felt all this emotional turmoil inside of me. when the missile finally impacted and hit, it was the missile comes off the rail, and 1.5 seconds, 1.3 seconds after it comes off the rail, it hits the sound barrier, so it sonic booms. But because the missile takes so long to get to target, the kinetic energy of the missile slows down that the sonic boom hits the target about 4 to 6 seconds before impact. So the guy that was behind everyone else heard the sonic boom and runs towards the other two, and we ended up getting all three. Right. So the first two people were in pieces. I mean, you could see the body parts everywhere. And the third guy had his right leg cut off right above the knee, and I watched him bleed out. And that was, when you hurt some. I've never hurt before that. I never hurt anyone, even though I was a wrestler. I got into a couple fights in high school, but I never hurt someone, right? I just defended myself. This didn't feel like defending myself. This felt like straight up murder. Like, I watched the guy bled out. He was rolling around on the ground. I can only just imagine what he was thinking, right? Like, he knew he was dying. Like, you can tell he's like rolling on the ground, holding his leg. And the people watching our video feed were like, keep eyes on. We just want to see if anyone comes up and picks up the body parts. And so I kept my camera on it, and we watched this guy in infrared turn from a hot blob with his blood squirting out of his leg, pooling underneath him. And we watched them cool down enough so that they became no different from the ground that they died on. And it was January. So what's the date today? Is
20th.
Okay, so 6 days will be my 15th year anniversary, 14-year anniversary from when. 15 years. Holy shit, 2021. Yeah, so it'll be 15 years since my first Hellfire missile shot.
Jesus.
And I remember it as clear as if it happened yesterday. And after, you never really think that you can do it until it happens. And after it happened, I was devastated. Like, I was in shock. Like, I felt like I just did something that I had no right to do. I took another human being's life in such a gross way. Like, they had no way to fight back. They had no way I didn't look them in the eye. I didn't know who they were. I didn't see their face. We just ended their life. And I watched a guy slowly drain his life out. And afterwards, I left. When people were celebrating in my squadron. People were like high-fiving themselves as if they're like, yeah, we're winning the war on terror. Yeah, high five. Yeah, congratulations. But I felt nothing but sickness in me. And I left, and as I was driving, I drove off base, and I called my mother, and I cried to her. And as a young man, like, I cried, and I was like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe that I did it. I felt so sick. And I called her after every shot to tell her this. And the advice that she gave me was, I know that it's a horrible thing, but your being there and feeling bad about it is a good thing, because it means that you'll make sure that the wrong people don't need to die. The wrong people aren't going to be killed. But as I reflect on my time in the military, I'm not sure if there was a right person